Hey guys, so it's Sunday afternoon and I've been in the studio all week. The weather hasn't been that great. It's been kind of rainy and windy. I had a lot of stuff to do anyway in the studio, some larger work, like this piece behind me here, prepping for a big show. And one thing that I notice every time a big show is coming up, especially in the last couple weeks before delivering the work, it just seems like everything goes crazy, or like I sort of neglect everything. Like I don't mow the lawn, I don't do my laundry, I don't go grocery shopping. So that's kind of the case. This is no different. So I'm, wanted to go out and do some painting today, but I haven't shopped, and so I don't know. I'm gonna go inside and see if I can scratch up a meal, get something to eat, and then go out and possibly do some just some quick studies. I've got a bunch of 8x10 panels, so usually I don't like to work that small, but I'm thinking of just doing like half-hour studies, just kind of block-ins, as I mentioned in a previous video. So we'll see. Okay, so it looks like the light is burned out. Anyway, here's what I was able to find. I've got some quinoa, I've got half an avocado, half a pack of tempeh, a little bit of garlic, and some carrots. Totally out of all vegetables. So I'm gonna see if I can work this into a meal. These are rainbow carrots from Trader Joe's. I mean, they're different colors. I don't know if they actually taste any different. So I sort of pride myself on being able to make meals out of nothing, or finding like just the barest leftover stuff in my refrigerator and then turning it into a decent meal. It requires some creativity, but sometimes I end up discovering like stuff that I really like and that I actually end up making over and over. Okay, so I'm going to steam those for 7 minutes. I think that should be enough to sort of soften them up a bit. A little bit of salt. A little bit more olive oil. A lot of times I'll just saute using water, but actually the extra calories in the oil will maybe tide me over a little bit longer, so I'll go with the olive oil today. Okay, so I'm going to heat up the quinoa in the microwave. In goes the tempeh, the carrots. Okay, I'm going to put on a little bit of Bragg's liquid amino. It's kind of like a soy sauce, a light amount of that on there. Just kind of mix it up. Okay, and top it off with avocado. And there we go. Now it's time for a food review. The tempeh with the garlic is really nice, and I love avocado on anything, so that's good. I'm not a huge fan of carrots, but cooked like this, they taste pretty good. So this will definitely do the trick. And then instead of chips, I'm just having some unsalted almonds. So this is it. I have no more food in the house, or like, not that I'm aware of. I really have to dig deeper to get another meal. So I'll probably eat something out because I'm not really feeling like shopping. Anyway, so I'm gonna finish this up and then hit the road. Okay, so as usual, I'm preloading my palette. I've got cad yellow lemon, cadmium yellow light, yellow ochre. This is burnt sienna. That's cad red light. Alizarin crimson. Normally you can see the spot here for, that's quinacridone red, but I'm using the alizarin this time instead. Just going to experiment with that. Dioxazine purple. This is ultramarine blue, cerulean blue hue. And usually I have burnt umber here, but I'm not going to use that today. I'm just going to kind of stick with a more or less primary color palette. Also, too, this is Naples yellow light, but it's just left over on the palette, so I may use that too. And I've got a wet panel carrier here with 4 8x10 panels. So I actually have no idea where I'm gonna go. I'm thinking the coast, definitely, just because I'm not feeling like going to the city today. I need a kind of chill vibe today after all this studio work. So I will probably head over towards Pacifica, which is just 15 minutes over the hill, and then just kind of start exploring and see what I can find. We may even, since I'm doing small panels, maybe even paint in several different locations. So we'll see. So I'm gonna load up and hit the road. Okay, so as I'm driving along here, I had a thought I wanted to share with you guys. Normally when I go out painting, I look for, I look for a scene that I like, and then I try to find a cool abstract pattern within that scene and a way of representing that. But today I'm thinking of maybe changing my approach and going out and actually just looking for interesting patterns of color and light, regardless of what the subject matter is. So I think that could be kind of a fun experiment. I don't know how it'll go. It's like another really windy day. That's one thing about spring here. Spring is probably the most challenging time for plein air painting because we get this really strong northwest wind that's just, so by late afternoon it's really powerful. I'm gonna persevere and give it a shot, see if I can find a protected area. But anyway, I just wanted to share that idea with you. I'm gonna look for strong patterns of color and light and not so much worry about what the subject matter is. So that's the plan. We'll see how it goes. Okay, so first stop is Rockaway Beach in Pacifica. I'm just gonna have a look around here and see what I can find. Wow, this guy's friendly. Hey buddy, sorry I don't have any snacks for you. Okay, so too windy and too crowded, so on to the next. Okay, so it's pretty crowded over here today, so I'm just gonna go to Montara Light instead of driving around, and I'm sure I could find a few things to paint there. Okay, so it's pretty windy out here, and the waves are huge. It's amazing. But I'm just gonna go for it and see how many little panels I can do. I think I'll start with the lighthouse, doing kind of a close-up. Okay, so I'm thinking something like this, just kind of zoomed in so that I can simplify the shapes. So I'm all set up, and as usual on windy days, I clip something heavy to my tripod so it doesn't fall over. It's really windy out here, but I'm in a sort of protected spot, so I'm gonna get started. Okay, so I didn't film the process because it's so windy. I didn't want my camera to tip over. And then also I had several people stop and talk to me, which was nice. So I did go over a little bit over 30 minutes. The drawing was more technical than usual just because, lighthouses are complicated. But it went pretty well. So I probably went 40 minutes including the drawing and talking to people, so not too bad. It was really hard to stop though. I wanted to keep going and put highlights and stuff, but I stopped, and I'll show you what I got. Okay, so here's what I got, and so I'm gonna stop and move on to something else. So I'm gonna take a look around. Okay, so next up I think I'm gonna paint some buoys that are hanging on this fence, and thankfully it's in a more protected area, so I'll show you what I'm looking at. It's kind of complicated, but maybe I'll do a sort of cropped close-up, so we'll see. Okay, so that one took about 25 minutes, so I'm making up some time here. And so I'm gonna look around and maybe see if I can do one more. I'm gonna rest my legs a little bit. Okay, so I think I found something else. I like the look of it, but I'm really not sure I can pull it off. But you know what, I'm gonna give it a try because I've got limited time here. So, but a funny little anecdote for those of you who paint outside and maybe are self-conscious about people judging you. I just had a guy come up and look at the painting, and he was clear, one of the buoys, which I kind of was happy with it. And he looked at it and he was kind of frowning, he was not impressed. So then he looked at me and he said, I'm a tough critic, I'm from Hawaii, we have the best artists in the world. So, and then walked away, So anyway, yeah, so that sort of stuff happens. Not often though. Anyway, all right, I'm gonna show you what I'm looking at. Okay, so I'm digging this like picket fence thing here, and then how it looks up the road. So obviously very complicated for an 8x10. And I'm gonna eliminate, I'll simplify, but that's what I'm looking at. So that last one didn't work out. The light was just changing too quickly, and it was just too much information to put on a small panel. But again, I had some nice conversations with people, and the sun just set, so thinking I should go find some food somewhere. I still don't feel like shopping. So I saw this taqueria in Pacifica that I wanted to go to, but they closed, so looks like it's going to be Mediterranean tonight. So I'm going to Mediterranean Kebab in Burlingame. Oh, thank you so much. Okay, so now it's time for the review. It was definitely good, but not as good as the one I had in the city recently. And I think the main reason is it was loaded with lettuce and tomatoes, and so it was kind of cold. But the falafels inside of the falafel wrap were actually really good. Okay, so Phil's is closed. I don't know, it looks like it might have to be Starbucks. Phil's is closed, and I don't think there's anything else open. I haven't been to Starbucks in a long time, and I wish I could say it was good, but unfortunately it isn't. One funny thing happened, I'll tell you about right now. When I went to give her my mug, it had an apple core in it. So last time I was painting, I had my Hydro Flask with me, and I went and got a coffee and had an apple, and after I finished the apple, I put it into my Hydro Flask because I didn't want to throw it in my car, and I forgot all about it. And then I'm in line and I'm about to hand her the Hydro Flask to fill it with coffee, and I noticed there was an apple core in there that had been fermenting for since Monday. It's now Sunday. Anyway, so I quickly got that out of there, which wasn't easy. But anyhow, so that's it for the day. I'm gonna go home and get some rest, and then tomorrow morning I'll look at these paintings and we can see if they're any good, or see if I learned anything. Okay, so here's what I came up with. So I might do a few minor touch-ups, just a little bit of cleanup, like there's some of the edges here, there's some of the white of the panel showing through, and then the lines that hold the buoys here got kind of painted over, so I might kind of do that, and obviously like sign them, and so just some basic cleanup. But other than that, I think I'll just leave them the way they are. So that was a really fun exercise, and I'd like to do another version. I'd like to go to San Francisco and do like the urban version of the quick block in, and it was really helpful at Montara Light to have a bunch of compositions within close proximity, because I could just pick up my easel and walk around. That was really cool. It would slow you down a lot if you had to break down for each one. You'd sort of lose momentum. So I think with an urban version of this, I certainly could find an area where there'd be a bunch of compositions within one small area. So who knows, maybe that'll be the next video. So yeah, it was a good time. Thanks for hanging out, and I'd like to thank my new Patreon supporters, much appreciated. If you'd like to help support the videos, there's a link to my Patreon in the description. And other than that, have a great day, and I'll see you in the next video.